All right, everybody, we're going to get into some harmony today. This is always something that I get asked a lot to teach, and I'm always hesitant until we spend a really long time on melodies before we get into this. So, if you're just kind of dabbling through things and you're still not solid on some of the other videos I did earlier on improvisation and melody, my personal preference would be that you got that stuff really solid before messing with what we're going to talk about today. Because then you can more easily apply that stuff to this when the time comes. But, do what you want. All right, so let's talk about a process to do a harmonization of a song, meaning adding chords or adding your own chords or changing the chords, using really traditional circle of fifths harmony. In other words, 5-1, 5-7-1. That concept of that's pretty much the backbone of Western music and at least Western harmony. So we're going to stick with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, except I'm going to move to C major so we can reference all the white keys when we talk about all the stuff. So the process, first thing that we'll do is we're going to drone in the left hand with just the one, just the do tonic, and then we're going to play the melody. And you go all the way through just doing that, staying on. You go way slower than I just did it, but just get that sound in your ear of how every note in the melody relates sound-wise to that tonic drone. All right, and then after you get that good, maybe do it in a bunch of keys. Then you're going to just learn to go to the 5 chords at the right time. So you're going to drone, except when a 5 chord happens, which this is in our previous videos. 5 chord. Notice the distribution of the notes. It's 2 on the right, 2 on the left. It's not. So you're going to play it like it would be written in a piece of piano music. Same thing here. I've got 3 notes in the right hand, 1 in the left. Or you could add 2 in the left, just a root 5th. So that's all you do. You just go through and play the drone, and whenever a 5 chord happens, you play it. And then go right back to the 1. So you're building up to all the chords. And then the next, once you do that, maybe in a few different keys and get the idea, you really want to feel when the 5 chord happens. And just instinctively go to it. Then from there, you can do the 4 chords. So drone, 4 chord, back to the 1, 4, back to the 1, 5. There's the 5 that we already did. Okay, and so for this song, that's all you got. And if you're playing a jazz tune or like a romantic era classical piece or a pop song that has a lot more chords in it, then you're going to have more layers. But for this, we're just going to do 1-4-5. So that's the way I build up to the 1-4-5 or 1-6-2-5 or 1 sharp 4-7, whatever we're doing. You just kind of add a layer each pass. And each pass can take a week or two. Like, you don't need to be in a hurry to do this. But just get those sounds in your ear. Okay. So let's talk about how, let's jump forward, and let's talk about how if you want to add some chords, when you hear people play a piece that you've heard a bunch of times, but the chords sound cooler, or there's more going on, let's talk about the basic concept behind that using 5-1 harmony. One thing you're going to hear me mention a lot is 5 of. So this is something you should be really comfortable with. If you know you're going to, what we're going to do is an F chord, and I would say, what's the 5 of the F? Or you would ask yourself, what's the 5 of the F? You should know immediately that's a C or a C7, because usually 5, we imply it's a 5-7 of something. So 5-7 of 4 would be the first thing we're going to talk about. So if the 4 is an F chord, then the 5, 7, and 4 would be a C7. Especially jazz players, we never say the 7 thing, we just say 5 of and just assume it's a 5 and all the extra notes that go with it. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go that far, we're going to target this chord, the 4 chord, and we're going to say, okay, what is the 5 of 4? I've already given this away. It's a dominant 1 chord. So 4, 5, 6, 7, there's your tonic again, there's the 1. So you're just going to play a C7 right before the 4 chord. There it is, you hear that sound, and then that gets you to the 4. So that's called a 5 of 4, or 5, 7 of 4. So we went 1, 5, 7 of 4, and to the 4. Notice that the 5, 7 of 4 has a B flat in it. So really we've temporarily changed keys there. That B flat is from the F major scale, or the scale of the 4 chord. So very temporarily we're changing keys on this piece. That's really important to know for the next level. Let's say we want to add another chord. What's 5 above the 1 dominant? It's easy. 1 would be the 5. It's the 5 chord. So 5 of C would be G, some kind of G chord. And G could be a G7. But since we're going to the 4 chord, we're going to change the B to a B flat to accommodate the new destination key of F. So when we get here, 5 of, jazz players would call that a 2, 5 in the key of F. So 2, 5, 1 is 5 of 1. And the first 5 of is usually minor because it matches, that would be diatonic. We'll get into that next video. I'm going to do this in a 2-video series. So next video we'll get into the rest of this and talk about changing majors to minors in different situations. So here you have. So you see how we provide a lot of motion with the harmonic movement by just adding those 2 chords in there to get to the 4 chord. So 5 of, bam, 4 chord. Or 2, 5, 1 into the 4 chord. All right, and then we want to finish this phrase. We want to get back to the 1. So what we do is we got to know what the 5 of 1 is, which is the 5, obviously. And so we're just going to change keys again and go right back to the home key of C in this case. So we arrived at our 4, and then we're going to go to a 5, 7 that leads us back home to 1. So this is a very quick key change to the 4 chord if we want to think of it that way. So you see how that works. So we were able to provide that motion with the 5, 7 chord to get us back to the 1. And so that's the way we can start reharming things using functional chords. And there are ways to do it with modal chords, modes of major, modes of melodic minor, etc. Like that, we can get into that stuff down the road. But the concepts, even for that stuff, are in here, what I just went over. So why don't you mess around with that and subscribe, like, do all that stuff, so when the next video comes up you'll get it. And I'll do a little a session on how to finish this phrase to get you down there. There's some cool extra chords you can add on that descending line in the next part of the song. So try it in a bunch of different keys. If the next video comes out in a week, don't think that you have to get all this down in a week. Just take some time. So just go slow and get your bearings as you go. Change keys a bunch so you really know if you have the concepts. and then over time it'll start to sink in. Maybe not as fast as you'd like, but you'll get it, and then it'll free you up to do all kinds of cool things down the road. All right, so wrap your head around that and have some fun with it, and then there'll be another video coming shortly. Thank you all.